Noroa's gaze falls on the rows of equipment hanging before him. Swords, shields, armor, each one practically screaming, "Choose me if you want to live." He's heard it a million times before. Equipment can make or break you, yet he's seen more equipment than he's actually used. In this world, it's not just a saying. Equipment determines life. In the bustling town of Maharji, at the Adventurer Guild, Noroa tries to catch a break. He asks for a reward, but his party just smirks. Reward? They'll let him carry more luggage next time as a reward. They're standing there, looking so pleased with themselves, while Noroa sits on the ground, exhausted and bitter. He mutters that they should be thanking him instead. Noroa Rita, adventurer rank G, had joined this party as nothing more than a pack mule. He took every step with them, dragging bags while they took the glory. But it all went downhill when they threw him into the beast's path on purpose. Used as bait, pushed around like he's disposable. A voice snaps him out of his thoughts. His gaze shifts to a B-rank adventurer flaunting his shining gold sword, armor, and shield, each with ridiculous defense stats. Attack power through the roof, enough defense to shrug off a dragon's breath. Noroa can only sigh. A rank G, frame 0 like him, doesn't stand a chance against this gear. The B-rank adventurer leans in, grinning. "And you, with frame 0, got any complaints?" Noroa hesitates, shoulders slumping. What can he say? No, he doesn't have any complaints. He can't argue with someone decked out in a full set of power-boosting armor. He's nothing, they're everything, and they know it. He's numb to it all. Emotions, pain, all of it just fades into a dull ache. Resigned, he thinks. At least carrying their gear is easier when he's already so broken inside. They sneer, telling him they'll use him tomorrow too, and he knows he's got no choice. This is who he is, Noroa the Zero. He collapses in exhaustion, lying flat as the other adventurers stroll past without a second glance. This is his daily life. This is the story of Noroa the Zero. But in a nearby shop window, something beautiful catches his eye. The adamantite armor, rank A, with a whopping defense of plus 200. It gleams under the lights, a symbol of everything he's dreamed of. It's beautiful. Every time he looks, it takes his breath away. Imagine wearing that. Just imagine. In this world, your equipment is your life. Noroa's heard the tales, the legends. The powerful don't just wield weapons, they make contracts with them, bonding their souls to their gear. Not everyone can do it, though. A weapon chooses its user based on worth, on skill, on the power of their spirit. The best of the best wield equipment frame 7, hero class. Those like Noroa with frame 0, 0 value, unable to contract with even the weakest sword. To the world, he's a nobody, worthless. Noroa the Zero, and he doesn't even know why. Noroa tries to slip through the busy market but gets shoved by a guy carrying crates. Apologizing, he looks up to see the man staring at him with a blank look of recognition. Who are you again? Oh right, Noroa the Zero. This is Yabuki, a former adventurer turned weapon shop owner. He knows Noroa's reputation and casually questions why Noroa hangs around his shop every day. "I'm not selling the armor. Aren't you tired of being here every day?" Noroa stammers an apology, unsure of what to say. Yabuki raises a weapon with an impressive gleam, explaining that although he hasn't appraised it fully, it's a B-rank sword with an attack power over 100. Noroa's eyes widen with awe, almost pressing his face against the blade. Yabuki snaps, warning him not to get too close. Noroa's eyes sparkle as he gushes over the sword, calling it awesome. He admits he really wants it, though his favorite will always be the adamantite armor. Yabuki shakes his head with a sigh, calling Noroa the same equipment nerd as ever. A voice calls out to Noroa. He glances around, confused, hearing a girl's voice but seeing no one. The voice grows more insistent, telling him to look here. Following the voice, his gaze lands on a mysterious doll in a cage, staring back with lifeless eyes. Realization hits. The voice was coming from the doll itself. Noroa's heart skips a beat. He approaches the cage, still bewildered, wondering if the doll could actually be speaking. Curiosity piqued, he asks Yabuki if there's something special, or cursed, about the doll. Yabuki dismisses the idea, explaining that equipment can't move on its own if it's not equipped. Noroa presses on, asking if Yabuki has any cursed equipment around. Yabuki explains the danger of cursed equipment. Unlike normal items, cursed gear doesn't need a contract and forcibly attaches itself to the user. There's no way to remove it, and the curse demands a constant cost, remaining bound to the wielder until death. Noroa listens, intrigued and slightly terrified. Yabuki warns him to stay away from cursed equipment, as the cost of wielding one is unknown and potentially deadly. Yabuki recounts his own experience as an adventurer. He's seen people lose themselves to cursed gear, their minds slipping, their sanity shattered. Some even died the instant they touched cursed items. Noroa stares in horror, his fascination battling with fear, as Yabuki finishes his story with a chilling warning not to get involved. Noroa reflects on cursed equipment, knowing the dangers. Cursed items aren't just risky, they're downright deadly. There's a doll that kills its owner, a gun that shoots its user, a game board with a death penalty. Everyone knows touching cursed gear can be a one-way ticket to doom. Yabuki challenges him, asking if he's heard of the Tomb of Return, a notorious dungeon. It's rumored to have a cursed weapon deep within, locked in an unclaimed treasure chest. Yabuki warns him, without any equipment, he might not survive the journey. But if he's truly desperate for a cursed item, that's where he should go. Noroa bows in gratitude, but leaves with Yabuki's final words echoing. He'd appreciate it if people stopped disturbing his business. Outside, Noroa contemplates his options. The Tomb of Return might hold the cursed equipment he needs, and he can't ignore the allure of power, even if it's dangerous. His fist clenches with determination. He wants equipment, cursed or not. Despite everyone calling him Noroa the Zero, he can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. He looks down at his own stats and realizes the truth. His equipment frame isn't zero. It's 9,999, the maximum limit, which forces him to use cursed gear only. This changes everything. He finally understands that his unusual equipment frame has locked him into a cursed path. Strangely, he doesn't remember equipping anything cursed, yet he feels the presence of a curse inside him. Slowly, he realizes this curse might allow him to wield unlimited cursed gear. Then, a memory flickers. A voice, a mysterious figure urging him to find cursed equipment to grow stronger than anyone. Noroa's heart pounds as he recalls their plea for help. His path is set. If cursed gear will make him stronger and fulfill that promise, he's willing to take the risk. Even if it means walking a cursed road, he won't hesitate. For Noroa, this is just the beginning. Noroa stands at the entrance of Karazu no Haka, a B-rank dungeon. Determined, he steels himself, thinking, I have to sacrifice my life. But then, his eyes widen as he notices another group approaching. They have arrived too. He crouches in the shadows, watching the well-equipped party of adventurers gather by the entrance. For people who don't have equipment like me, going to the deepest part, he thinks, with a sense of dread. Defeating just one monster is already very difficult, but there must be another way. His mind races with a plan. The only way is to follow the strongest party unnoticed. His eyes dart toward the lead adventurer, a powerful Class B with 3 equipment frames, the best in the city. Yesterday, they only scouted the dungeon, but today, it's clear they're diving in for real. He's banking on their strength and plans to scoop up any cursed equipment they leave behind. This is really sad, but I have no other choice. Suddenly, he realizes he's falling behind. Damn it, I'm being left behind. Sprinting after them, he rounds a corner only to come face to face with an E-rank monster, a skeleton. The skeleton lunges at him, and Noroa instinctively dodges, his hand gripping his sword. But his confidence wavers, knowing his weapon's restrictions. If you haven't done a soul contract, this sword would be an iron bar to you, he recalls, gritting his teeth as he braces himself. Determined, Noroa readies his blade, his eyes steely with resolve. The current sword is a bronze sword. Usually, this is equipment I shouldn't be able to use. He's been practicing long enough to overcome these odds, and he's going to prove it now. The skeleton moves to attack again, and he strikes with precision, shouting, "Eat it, Baldy!" The skeleton shatters under the force of his attack. But before he can celebrate, a loud crash echoes through the dungeon, and another skeleton appears swinging its blade. Noroa barely dodges, but the skeleton lands a glancing blow, sending him flying back. He hits the ground hard, dazed, as he mutters, "What the damn?" Then he hears a horrifying groan as the skeleton, eyes gleaming with dark energy, advances toward him. Panic seizes him as he scrambles backward, screaming, "Aha!" As he catches his breath, memories flood his mind. His past failures, his dreams, and the harsh reality of his limitations as an adventurer without proper equipment. He recalls the first time he attempted to conquer this very dungeon, his earnest efforts, and the sword he'd saved up for, only to realize it was useless without the right contract. Am I not even able to win against petty monsters like earlier? He wonders, frustration creeping in. Yet the desire to overcome his fate gnaws at him. He dreams of becoming stronger, of wielding shiny, powerful equipment to vanquish his enemies. The dream of every adventurer. But as he stands outside the weapon shop, lost in thought, a chilling question haunts him. Will I always be Zero forever? Just then, a sudden explosion shakes the ground. Debris flies as an armored figure emerges, coughing from the smoke. It's Yabuki, the shop owner, clutching the remnants of what was once adamantite armor. "Noroa, huh?" he mutters, spotting Noroa. Relieved to see him, Noroa rushes over. "Yabuki-san, I'm glad you're okay." But before he can ask any more questions, Yabuki, half annoyed, points at the remains of his shop and growls, That damn shop-wrecking adventurer? Noroa's situation is spiraling as he encounters more cursed equipment and monsters in the dungeon. Karazu no Haka. He follows a powerful adventurer group, thinking this strategy might grant him access to powerful cursed gear without the life-threatening battles. But fate has other plans as he encounters a skeleton, a menacing E-rank monster, and barely scrapes by. As he collects his thoughts, a familiar face, Yabuki, steps up to help him in the fight. Just when it seems like things are looking up, Yabuki draws a soul contract, imbuing his weapon with extra strength. But this reckless courage may cost him more than he bargained for. Amidst the chaos, Noroa's emotions are thrown into turmoil as Yabuki seems fatally injured. Left alone and cornered, Noroa's life flashes before his eyes. The fear, the hopelessness, and the cursed nature of his equipment haunt him. Desperation strikes as Noroa stumbles upon a doll trapped in a cage. The doll, seemingly with a mind of its own, beckons him to equip it for power. Torn between survival and the danger of cursed items, Noroa reaches out, but his hesitation gives the enemy just enough time to attack. What will Noroa do with the cursed power within his grasp? Will this doll be his salvation or his doom? Noroa's desperate gamble with the doll pays off, but just barely. He winces in pain from the blow that tore through his defenses, yet somehow he's still in one piece. The doll, he realizes, feeling a strange relief. The cursed equipment absorbed the hit that would have destroyed adamantite armor, reducing the impact to a mere ache. Not bad for a cursed accessory. As Noroa struggles with the new situation, his mind races. The doll's protection is the lifeline he needed. Despite the creepy allure of this cursed item, he's realizing its worth. But then, the armored enemy pauses, observing Noroa's actions with a cold, almost lifeless gaze. The silence grows tense. Noroa feels the doll urging him. If you want to live, use me. He hesitates, the absurdity of placing his life in the hands of a creepy talking doll hitting him. But the stakes are too high to question it now. Noroa steels himself, grabbing the doll tightly, feeling a pulse of energy flow through him. The doll's personality doesn't help ease his nerves. It teases, "Want to give me a nickname? Already trying to make me your girlfriend?" Noroa stammers in embarrassment, but her cheerful taunts quickly pivot to an unexpected revelation. "I can break the rules of this world, steal the cursed equipment of others." Noroa is taken aback. This doll isn't just cursed, it's a game changer, giving him powers that could even turn the tide against those like the armored opponent standing before him. Realizing he has an actual advantage, Noroa's confidence grows, the kind he hasn't felt in a long time. As his opponent looms closer, the doll grins, ready to unleash her twisted abilities. And for the first time, Noroa is starting to think he might just have a fighting chance. Noroa, having received the cursed equipment, stands in awe, the power radiating from the weapon he now holds. His expression is a mix of fear and determination as he begins to understand the true nature of this cursed weaponry. Just then, the doll, his new companion, speaks up with a glint in her eye. "If you really have the will to use cursed equipment, I'll definitely become stronger than any weapon." She extends her hand confidently, urging him forward. Without hesitation, Noroa raises his hand, ready to accept her power. She holds out a needle, her voice suddenly serious. "If you want to stay alive, stab my heart with this needle." Noroa hesitates, his face filled with worry and confusion, but there's no time for second thoughts. With a steely resolve, he thrusts the needle toward her heart, all while she reassures him. "I promise I will be useful." As the needle connects, an intense wave of energy erupts, flowing through Noroa and the doll. Their combined powers surge, filling Noroa with an overwhelming strength he's never felt before. He can barely contain it as the dark force within him awakens, taking over his senses. Suddenly, the doll's expression shifts, her face twisted in a chilling grin. "I've been waiting for this to happen," she laughs maniacally, her voice echoing in Noroa's ears as his vision goes dark. Her laughter reverberates, surrounding him in a vortex of madness and power. In a wild frenzy, Noroa's new strength takes control, propelling him forward with destructive force. He can feel the cursed power of his weapon amplifying with each passing second, pushing him beyond his limits. The chaos continues until Noroa finally collapses, exhausted from the power surge. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself surrounded by rubble. His doll companion watches over him, looking surprisingly gentle now. "Are you awake?" she asks, her tone soft but with an unmistakable hint of satisfaction. Noroa, dazed and confused, glances around at the destruction left in his wake. "What actually happened?" he murmurs. The doll explains the weapon's power, her tone almost proud. "This is the Bloody Mimura, a cursed weapon that absorbs the strength of those it kills. Once unsheathed, it cannot rest until it's satisfied." She goes on, describing its lethal attributes and unrelenting hunger for blood. Noroa listens in stunned silence, realizing the terrifying responsibility he now bears. He holds the sword up, its aura stronger than any weapon he's encountered before. With a slight tremor, he mutters, "Beautiful and terrifying." The doll, sensing his awe, reassures him with a confident smile. "With this power, you can finally become the strongest in this world," she says. Her voice is filled with an almost eerie encouragement, promising him strength beyond his wildest dreams. Noroa, filled with newfound resolve, nods. "Yes, I will become the strongest." And with that, he steps forward, ready to face whatever horrors this cursed power brings, his destiny entwined with the mysterious and mischievous doll at his side. In the next part of the story, Noroa, still visibly affected by the chaotic energy of the cursed equipment, walks through a desolate landscape. Juju cheerfully sits on his shoulder, reminding him that with her by his side, he can achieve anything. She notices his gloomy expression and urges him to look at her smile and not feel down. Her infectious optimism forces a faint smile from Noroa, who realizes that despite her quirks, Juju genuinely cares about him. As they prepare to leave the ruins, Noroa begins reflecting on his new power. With the cursed equipment now under his control, he wonders about the journey ahead, still uncertain of the challenges and allies he may encounter. Juju, sensing his hesitation, playfully guesses his thoughts, adding a touch of humor to lighten the mood. Her antics remind Noroa that, for better or worse, he's no longer alone in this quest. With the cursed sword in hand and Juju by his side, Noroa finally sets out on his journey to collect more cursed equipment, each step moving him closer to his goal, and perhaps his destiny as the strongest. The path forward is long and fraught with danger, but with Juju's unwavering support and his own determination, Noroa is ready to face whatever the world throws at him. Noroa stares up at the towering evil bear, a rank A beast covered in dense fur and brutal armor. The creature cracks its neck, baring sharp teeth as it eyes Noroa, almost mocking him for being in its territory. Noroa's mind races. Why is he in this place? A top-class monster? He braces himself, but before he can decide on a plan, Juju insists, "No need to worry. You just need to use Bloody Mamura, right?" But Noroa hesitates, knowing the dangerous after-effects of the cursed blade. Despite his reluctance, Juju encourages him to act quickly, or the bear will reach them. Noroa grasps Bloody Mamura, its cursed energy swirling around him as he mutters, "I have to keep my consciousness." This feeling? His vision blurs with a dark intensity as the blade's berserk mode takes over. He rushes forward, slashing with ferocity, each strike more powerful and reckless than the last. In moments, the evil bear is defeated, blood splattering as Noroa's vision fades. Later, Juju shakes him awake, reassuring him, "You beat him, Noroa," but you fainted right after. Dazed, Noroa tries to piece together what happened. "This is my first time defeating a monster, but I don't even know how I beat him. This sword is strong, but dangerous." As they reflect, Juju reminds him that perhaps their meeting wasn't accidental. There's something or someone out there directing him to find cursed equipment. Noroa realizes he must get stronger, not just for his survival, but to face whatever is guiding him toward these cursed artifacts. With Juju's encouragement to head to the dungeon, Noroa realizes he might need to pace himself when using the Bloody Mamura. He's slowly getting intrigued by Juju's quirky personality, though he tries to brush off the thought, resolving to become stronger instead. As they enter town, Juju eagerly urges him to the Adventurer Guild for a permit. The guild members, however, throw side-eyes at Noroa, whispering about the weirdo with a doll. Ignoring the glares, Noroa proceeds, feeling the sting of embarrassment as he's labeled the lowest rank, while insisting he's just scouting. Before he can complete the paperwork, a bulky adventurer pokes fun, calling him out for playing with dolls. Juju, not one to stay quiet, immediately snaps, demanding the guy back off. Impressed by what he thinks is Noroa's ventriloquism, the guy takes it too far, mocking Noroa as potential slave material instead of a shield. Noroa's patience snaps, but Juju takes the initiative, delivering a powerful Juju punch that sends the adventurer reeling. Amid the stunned silence, Noroa quickly apologizes to the crowd, trying to avoid being labeled as dangerous. But deep down, he's determined. No matter what, he's entering that dungeon. As Noroa and Juju delve deeper into the ominous Rank S dungeon, Kumo no Mayoimichi, Juju can't help but stress about their skincare, suggesting they conquer it quickly to avoid staying up too late. Noroa, keeping his eyes on the mission but slightly amused by Juju's priorities, nervously agrees. As they walk through the web-covered cave, Noroa wonders aloud if using Bloody Mamura would cause the dungeon to collapse. Juju reassures him, saying, "The equipment's rank SSS. The dungeon should handle it." She seems confident, but Noroa can't shake the feeling that she's serious and maybe a bit too trusting. Suddenly, they're ambushed by a swarm of killer spiders, monster rank D. Norora's skin crawls as he shouts, "I am really afraid of insects, you know?" Juju clings on tight, admitting she shares the sentiment. But there's no time for fear. They've got to fight. With a fierce cry, Norora unsheathes Bloody Mimura, activating its devastating battle mode. The blade gleams, and in his hands, Norora strikes through the swarm in a frenzy, falling into berserk mode. His power surges, slashing through spiders left and right, leaving a wake of web and severed legs. Yet, the dungeon's creatures grow stronger the deeper they go, their power clearly ramped up. Just as Norora catches his breath, they reach a massive, ornate door, the boss room. Juju, trying to boost Norora's confidence, tells him it's not just Bloody Mimura's power that brought them here. It's his strength, his skills, and his determination. Inside, they're greeted by a monstrous figure, Queen Spider, her presence filling the cavern with a menacing aura. She's a rank S disaster-level monster, a formidable foe. Juju's eyes gleam as she talks up Norora's impending victory, imagining the heroic tale that'll come out of this. Norora, gulping, isn't so sure. Why do I want to go home? The Queen Spider descends, her many eyes narrowing on the intruders. If I succeed in beating her, Norora thinks, I'll be a hero. But the Queen isn't about to let that happen without a fight. Her venomous fangs glint, and her claws swipe at them with deadly speed. After a fierce battle, Norora, armed with Bloody Mimura, managed to strike down the enormous Queen Spider in one decisive attack. Standing amidst the fallen beast's remains, he couldn't help but look around in disbelief at the aftermath of his victory, wondering how he'd pulled it off with a single blow. With the dungeon finally cleared, Juju cheered triumphantly. "Hooray! We did it!" as she celebrated their success. Norora, still trying to comprehend his own strength, felt a mix of pride and shock as Juju praised him, recounting their journey through the dungeon with excitement. Then, their eyes fell upon a treasure chest sitting nearby. Norora's face lit up as he eagerly opened it, hoping for some legendary cursed equipment to aid them in future battles. But, as the chest creaked open, all he found was a small, mysterious object resting inside. "What is this?" Norora, still trembling from his earlier encounter, peeks into the open chest, eyeing the strange, orb-like item. "Is this supposed to be a cursed equipment?" he mutters, his curiosity blending with apprehension. Juju pops up, cheerily reminding him, "Don't worry, this is just one chest, and it's only here because of your luck." She playfully dismisses his concerns, despite the item's ominous label, Juju Waradol, with an after effect of, "Status luck will change to 0. Norora examines it further, noting its weird, oddly calming glow. "It's beautiful," he mutters, almost mesmerized. Juju smirks, teasing, "Oh, you're finally noticing how perfect I am, huh?" Blushing, Norora quickly tries to deflect, caught off guard by her self-assured attitude. Juju's teasing escalates as she dramatically declares her admiration for the orb. "I want to marry it!" she exclaims, while Norora contemplates if he should lick it. She shoots him a dubious look, reminding him, "You should already know what it is given its appearance." Flustered, Norora has no clue but decides not to admit it. Suddenly, the orb springs to life, latching onto Norora's eye. In horror, he cries out as the cursed equipment embeds itself, transforming into a compass-like vision. He realizes its power, the Rasengan Cursed, allows him to locate objects but comes with a deadly catch. If he doesn't locate his target in 7 days, it will consume his mind. Determined but visibly shaken, Norora takes on the new ability with caution. Juju excitedly proposes to test it, so Norora focuses, using the Rasengan to pinpoint her hiding spot. Feeling a painful strain but managing to stay conscious, he follows its guidance successfully. This initial victory fills him with confidence as he realizes he's gained a powerful, albeit dangerous tool for future challenges.